we set out to learn if landlords have the authority to expect rent to be paid on time and in full after tenants have been impacted by natural disasters such as Hurricane Harvey. And this is what we discovered. This letter sparking outrage from residents at the Valley View Estates housing complex. While it starts out nice enough, mentioning the devastation Hurricane Harvey ignited.
Dear residents, we are heartbroken by the events over the past week and sincerely hope that you and your family are safe.
It quickly turned sour.
And we simply want to remind you, rent is still due on the 1st, so please make your payments.
The note says management still expects rent payment as usual. It goes on to say that late fees will be waived for the month, but the payment must be made by the 15th to avoid eviction.
How are you going to evict the people and there's no way to go, nowhere to go?
Valley View resident Tiffany Ducati says her home received several inches of water during the storm and says it destroyed her car.
People haven't been able to go to work because the streets were flooded.
She also claims her house now has mold.
Now that's completely moldy. You see it?
She says some of her neighbors, several of which are low income, have it even worse and says this letter is unacceptable.
I think I'm more upset about the fact that there was no compassion or empathy shown towards the people because you still have your rent due on the 1st.
So we asked the question, can landlords require payment on time and in full after tenants have been impacted by a natural disaster? The answer is yes, with exceptions. Legal expert Liz Mitchell breaks down how this works with government housing.
There is no law that says just because there's been a horrible natural disaster and you can't work, that you get to live in your apartment for free. It's kind of encouraged that they use goodwill and compassion during this time, but it's not legally required. So if it's uninhabitable, I would say that would be the strongest case for someone getting out of paying rent.
She also says it's up to the owners if they want to waive rent or extend the due date. We then spoke with the executive director of Port Arthur's housing authority, Sele Quesada, who helped draft the letter. Quesada released a statement to 12 News about the situation, saying in part, "We were operating under the hope and faith that tenants had minimal damage. We have a team of folks assessing damage and residents will be notified within 24 hours about what they'll be doing moving forward." He went on to say that rent for September will possibly be waived for those with significant damage. He also tells me they're not looking at evictions at the moment, but Ducati says management needs to find a way to work with tenants now struggling to make ends meet due to something out of their control.
I mean, still pay your rent, but I mean, golly, give the people a chance to pay.
Now, there have also been several different posts online with people from all over saying their apartment complex is giving them 5 days to move out. Our legal expert tells me if the property is damaged so severely that it's catastrophic or dangerous to live there, the owner of the lease has the right to terminate said lease, even if the renter doesn't want to leave, as long as they give the renter written 5 days notice. Her advice is to reach out to FEMA for assistance in the meantime, guys. Southeast Texans are left to pick up the pieces today after Hurricane Harvey ripped through their community. These floodwaters destroying homes across Beaumont, signaling the long journey ahead for many to return to life as they knew it.
It was this high. Look, water came over here, 3.5 feet. The water was right here.
For Beaumont residents Leo and his brother Elazar, this week has been a trying one after Harvey turned their roads into lakes and then headed for their home.
That was bad. That was just a lot of water every day. We thought we was going to flood too.
With water starting to recede, the family made their way back to their home and business.
Right there, 2 feet, right there.
To assess the damage. And they're not alone. And the residents on this street only able to leave their home by boat. Their next door neighbors, the rest of the street, and much of the Finette community are spending these days salvaging what they can from their former lives.
It's, I don't know, I mean, I don't even, it's just like, it's complete helpless, just despair, just you name it, just, you're lost.
The The Sarge family moved here 9 months ago.
Well, we got this all moldy and stuff, and we got to get all this out of the house.
And are having to begin again.
You're completely helpless. It's like, it's almost surreal. You're like, man, is this really happening to me?
But the people here are fighters and say it's going to take much more than a little water to keep them down.
I want to tell the people to be patient, and I mean, we're going to recover, and it's going to take a slow process, but we can do it.
As floodwaters recede, more and more people are starting to make their way back home. Several cars line the streets now, with residents anxious to see what's left of their home, saying they're now leaning on loved ones, the community, and a higher power to see them through. Reporting in Beaumont, Emani Payne, back to you. The Texas sun beating down on Netherland didn't keep the folks there from arriving by the dozens to Bulldog Stadium for a night of prayer and healing after Hurricane Harvey ripped through their community.
Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way.
Pastors normally known for preaching and guiding, called upon tonight to save lives.
And Lord, I pray that you would make your people, your church, to be the ministers of comfort in such a terrible time.
This pastor working around the clock to comfort those in need.
There's so much work that has to be done. There are just lifelong memories that are just lost now. People who have been just devastated.
Music playing and hands raised, community members listened in as evacuees, first responders, and those who lost loved ones in the storm were prayed for.
When all those people go back to where they came from, when things have a new normal here, that people are going to need a lasting hope, and that lasting hope comes from Jesus.
A higher power many are leaning on in these trying times.
We were able to get out and come to our stadium today and pray and worship God. There's so many that can't do that.
As the saying goes, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And that certainly proved true tonight. And as the water recedes and folks here turn to a new normal, they hope the watching world will continue to be there every step of the way.
Don't leave after the excitement is over.